Hey, Mr. Barrier. This is my final project. I decided to make a kind of poster-ish thing on how different characters in different stories were trapped by something, and that ultimately led to their downfall, or um, either a downfall or something that seriously hindered them. Um, so basically, I made a gigantic web, which is kind of a reference to Metamorphosis also, because he was like physically trapped by, his the state that he was in. The heart represents beloved. She was trapped by her love for Setha, and she couldn't really get past that, and that kind of ultimately led to the problems that occurred in the story and stuff like that. Um, let's see, the seeds here are a reference to Willy Loman. They represented his desires, and a lot of his desires ultimately led to him wanting too much, and because of that, he, finally committed suicide in the end. The green eyes are a reference to Othello, and green-eyed monster jealousy kind of thing. His jealousy ultimately led him to be more easily manipulated by Iago, and therefore led to his downfall. Let's see, the puppet strings right here um, is a reference to Claudius, how he continuously manipulated all of the characters in the story, and in the end, that kind of backfired on him because um, like none of his plans really worked out, and it shows that you can't really control everyone's actions. The kind of cycle sign that I used here represents Nora, and how she was just stuck from Dollhouse, and how she was just stuck in this lifestyle that like that she felt she needed to get freed from. So in this case, she was trapped by it, but in the end, she freed herself. The feather here represents the very old man with enormous wings. He was literally hindered by his lack of feathers. Um, Over here, it's a reference to Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been, in which the protagonist was trapped by an illusion. I kind of tried to make it like a mirror, so she thinks he's like that, but he's actually like that. Um, and then, let's see, the handkerchief here represents Amelia, and how she was kind of trapped in her marriage to Iago, and even if she trusted him completely, and even if she didn't really know what was going on, she still did what he told her, and she realized this in the end, and eventually tried to sever ties with him. Over here are I tried to make it look like a pair of blinded eyes. That represents Oedipus, and how he was blinded by his ignorance, um, and how that ultimately led to him physically blinding his eyes at the end of the story. Um, this right here is Gimple the Fool. He was another one that was trapped by his ignorance, and it represents the symbol, the horns of a cuckold. Um, Over here, this box right here, I tried to make it look like a prison or a jail cell or something, and it represents yellow wallpaper, and how she was trapped in trapped by her like this whole feminist social movement, and it like makes a reference to the bars that were eventually seen in the yellow wallpaper itself. Um, the money sign represents Rocking Horse Winner, and how their entire family was trapped by greed and all of that. Let's see. The tree stump here represents Setha's pride, and how she wouldn't really accept food or help from any of the villagers. But later on, they started leaving food on the stump, and her daughter, Denver, would get it for her. So it kind of represents how the pride hindered her in the beginning, but later when the villagers actually did start helping her, it was eventually more beneficial to her in the end. The ladder represents the social ladder that the youngers had to get over when they moved to a different area. The flag represents allegiance in Shiloh and how they were trapped by this duty and this allegiance to the country. Um, the crutches literally represent how Helga was hindered by her wooden leg, and how that later on also affected her judgment and her character, and I think that eventually led to her downfall. And I think that's the last of it. Yeah. So this is the final project. If there are any questions, just email me or something.